Dodge, Yahoo, Phantom of the Forest, you Spear, Finger, Fire Dragon, Ohio Grassman, Silver Giant, Bloodless Howler, West Virginia Vampire, Coyote King, Hogzilla, Devil, Dark Coyote Killer. Cave creature, Mothman, Smoke Wolf, a Lizard, Demon, Ashman, Grafton Monster, Cow-killing Bastard, Shadow Creature, Dustman, Cherokee, Death Cat, Wild Man, Great Fire Rape, what else do I have to say? Steal yourself some chicken wire, and I'll get some lumber, catch the Thunder Brothers. Don't you dare get out of the golf cart. We can keep our big seats while we hunt the big feet. Snallygaster, Rogue Team, Red Island Bear Beast, Silver Giant, Squalling Savage, Black Wolf was kind of average, Stone Giant, Raven Mocker, Midnight Whistler, Wampus Beast, Wawa Woman, Ohio Grassman again. Technically Huckleberry, Wolfman, or Wolf County, need to find the X again if we hunt the Lightning Man. Webster's Werewolf, Daily Howl, Kentucky Hellhound, Little Girl, Headless Horror, I can't take it anymore. Steal yourself some chicken wire, and I'll get some lumber, catch the Thunder Brothers. Don't you dare get out of the golf cart. We can keep our big seats while we hunt the big feet.
This here's BIGFEETS, the only Mountain Monsters watch-along podcast. I'm Robert Brockway, and I have left my co-hosts a series of devious clues in the form of podcast invites. Now to wait and see if they solved them.
And I'm Sean Baby. Chester stopped a few yards from the hut. He seemed scared. "Hey, come on over, Chester," I called. Still, he hesitated. Then I realized that Chester wasn't smiling. "What's wrong, buddy?" I asked. He looked at me as if paralyzed by indecision and then twisted around and looked over his shoulder. He turned and looked a few hesitant steps towards me, moving close enough that I now could see the dried tears on his face, the fear in his eyes, and the broken left arm that dangled at his side. He must have seen my reaction, for he stopped again and took a couple of faltering hops backward. Suddenly, two figures shot out of the jungle shadows into the tiny clearing. "What the?" I heard Helms shout behind me, and then the sound of the bottle hitting the ground. I caught a sudden whiff of his breath-warmed scotch as a blow struck me from behind, pushing me to the side and knocking me to the ground. Helms drew his gun and fired twice at the same moment that the two figures reached Chester, shoving him toward the hut. I watched helplessly as Helms's shots halted Chester's progress and flung his tiny body backward into the air. "What the hell?" I screamed at Helms.
And I am award-winning author and essayist Jason Pargin.
Okay, at first, I thought it was a Chester trap. I thought it was like a Looney Tunes, like, oh, that's not going to be Chester. That's a bomb dressed up as Chester or something. No. But then he started hopping, and
Yeah.
Is Chester a dog? Was Chester a guy?
Chester is a lovable war cripple who Frank Dukes gives gum, and he gleefully accepts the gums. Those are his words, not mine. And then his buddy shot him.
Hopping the whole while. Wow. I forgot completely what we're doing. What is this? Where am I right now?
The Frank Dukes Bubblegum Hour.
All right. This is a Mountain Monsters Watch Along podcast. It's a good thing I don't know what that show is right now. So I don't have to introduce the concept to you after that fucking bombshell. Jesus Christ. Before we get started, let's plug some things. How about you, Jason?
$3 is how much my new book is the month you're listening to this, if you happen to be listening to it in the month of June 2025. The book is $2.99 in ebook form on any ebook platform. It is the book that I've been promoting on this show since this show was invented. I'm starting to worry about this black box of doom. Just type in that title into your ebook reader. Read some other reader reviews first. Please do not take my word for it. I am biased. I would tell you to buy it, even if it was bad.
It's funny you mentioned that. I also have a new book. That's not a joke. It feels like I'm joking, but it's not a joke. I've written a new fiction book. I'm very proud of it. I'm very happy with it. But it's got this legally enforceable window. Like in your contract, they put a window in now where like you have to promote this on social media from this point to this point. And like if you fail at that, there will be legal consequences. So I'm not doing it until that window kicks in. That's just a personal problem that I have. It's not anything against the book or the publisher. It's just spite that I haven't really directed at anything particular. So yeah, I got a new book. It's called Fuck You. You can order it right now on fuckyou.com or simply buy it wherever you get fucked.
Well, hell yeah.
How about you, Sean?
I run a website called 1-900-GoFuckYourself.com.
Let's cut it off there. I would be lying if I said in part this isn't just to bug Jason. It's just to bug Jason.
I've always liked the attitude. We do have a Patreon, patreon.com/1900hotdog. You can go there and support it. Jamie, you know what? Cut that. You're right.
Sell out. Hack. Boo. Boo.
I agree.
Well, we're a Mountain Monsters watch-along podcast. Mountain Monsters used to be a show about Bigfoot. It was sort of a hillbilly ghost hunting reality show. You know what those are. They go out into a graveyard or something and pretend they hear whispers. This one was about Bigfoot, though, and every single episode they fought Bigfoot until they literally got sick of fighting Bigfoot. They just got fucking sick of it, of pretending to have a fist fight with Bigfoot off camera. A fist foot. That's what you should call it. And so they just started doing other shit, like just goofing, just noodling to see what sticks. And right now, we started doing like an espionage, like a thriller kind of thing. Right now I think we're doing like serious horror. We're delving into like serious occult folklore horror, like casting our boys in The Wicker Man or something. It's hilarious. Our cast.
What matters to the listeners at home is that they are improvising a genre of storytelling that cannot be improvised. They have now switched to improvising a storyline that in any other format needs to be carefully scripted and edited and rehearsed and cast. And instead, they're not only not doing any of that, they're going out in the woods with, I believe, no prior discussion of what's going to happen that shoot, and they just make it up. Which, again, it's one thing if you're just going out there to play Bigfoot, and you say, ooh, I think I saw Bigfoot over there. Let's run over there, guys. But when you are trying to build complicated layers and factions and twists and turns and codes and Easter eggs for people to try to unlock, hard to do that on the fly. Can these guys pull it off?
Master improv crew?
You don't know.
So it's still the same cast. For now, Trapper's still in it. So Trapper is kind of their leader. Huckleberry's Bigfoot security. No Big Feet around. I don't know what he's doing. Buck used to be the rookie, is now sort of the second in command, vying for team leadership. Jeff used to be the hillbilly research scientist, and now he's just a naughty little baby. Willie was the trap builder. He's still gonna build. I think he's going to build traps soon, because they talk about how they're going to do some stuff trying to build a trap. We'll see if they end up using it. I will be shocked if that happens. Wild Bill was never their tracker. He's there, I guess, just to keep goofing on Willie. Keep Willie from descending into a dark depression, which he will if you leave him alone long enough with his traps. Before we get started, I wanted to talk about a few things. First of all, we are well past the halfway point of BIGFEETS, like as a podcast. There are 41 episodes of Mountain Monsters left after this, and that's including By the Fire. But there is hope on the horizon. There's a couple of pieces of big news. First of all, Mountain Monsters, which was being erased from behind us as if it never existed. I think it's going up on Freevee, somebody said. I don't know what that is. I don't know where you can find that. I don't know if it costs money, if it's region locked.
It definitely costs money.
It would be to have a service called Freevee, and it's $150 a month. That's what I'm hoping for.
Don't know where you would even potentially find that, but everybody's saying, "Oh, just go find it on Freevee." Somebody could be fucking with me. I could be getting punked. That probably doesn't exist. Anyway, it might be there. It might not. The other big pieces of news are we might be getting more. mountain monsters of a sort. Okay, so a few things have happened here. God, it's so good because not only might we not be getting more stuff, but there might be like personal drama behind it, which is really good, really exciting. So, Buck, Huckleberry, and Wild Bill were seeing recently at a Q&A saying they're going to start their own show. Whether or not that's an actual continuation of Mountain Monsters by name, they did not say. But the vibe is that we're going to continue doing this. Whatever this is, because we don't know. We don't know what it is. I have no idea what it's going to be by the time we catch up with the end of Mountain Monsters. It's going to be like a shipbound romance or something. I have no idea. But you notice I didn't say Willie and Jeff. That's because there's been a falling out with the crew. So Willie and Jeff are not going to be part of whatever this offshoot Mountain Monsters thing they're talking about is. And they've been making little guest appearances on other shows themselves. So the talk is they're coming out with a rival show. So we might be getting 2 split off Mountain Monsters that hate each other. That's so exciting. That's the Power Team. That's what happened to the Power Team. The biblical weightlifters, you remember the 1980s
sure.
weightlifting for Christ guys? They had a falling out over divorce or something, and there ended up being 2 power teams that hated each other, and they would tour simultaneously, and if they met up, they would fight. They would tear down each other's posters and try to sabotage each other's shows.
I witnessed a falling out of the Power Team in real time when they came to my middle school.
Oh, that's amazing.
One guy went into the crowd to find 2 girls so they could lift them with the power of Jesus Christ. And when they got to the stage, the other guy sat the 2 girls down and then went back to the crowd to get 2 different girls. They lifted those 2 girls, and then it all kind of finished, and they sent the first 2 girls back. And there was sort of this wave of comprehension as we realized that the first guy picked girls that the other guy didn't think were hot enough. So he went out and got 2 hot girls and made the not hot girls sit down. And we all saw
by girls,
that.
you mean fully adult women, of course.
I mean, well, God, we were in middle school, so they were probably 12 or 13, 14 if they'd done something real stupid in one of those grades.
Huh.
So yeah, best case scenario, they were 14.
Hey, can you not tell this story again?
No, I think we should leave it in.
Anyway, there might be underage girls in this rival split-off show drama. I don't know. But, we might be getting the best possible universe where there are 2 mountain monsters and they hate each other. Because I would give anything for that to come true. Who knows where that's actually going.
And
right
so
now,
then our show would be, analyzing the little drama between them as they,
oh, no, we'd break up
fuss
and
at
do
each
2
other?
different podcasts.
Oh,
that hate each
okay.
other.
I like that.
You 2 would have a show, and then I would have a show that's just me.
And we would hate each other. You would be watching, if you're watching the video podcast, you'd be watching Jason's little image up there, and then you just see my fist come flying into frame, just knock him right out of it.
Hey, this is all YouTubers are. If you look at YouTube highlights on Reddit or whatever, it's always just Ethan slams Hassan over comments about his wife, whatever, and it's just back and forth. 37 layers of back and forth, and everybody. That's it. They just argue. They don't talk about anything else. They just talk about each other. It's infinite money.
It's
They're
infinite.
all
You hear
rich.
that?
They're all rich as hell.
You hear that, Ames team? Infinite money. Do it. Do it.
Literally, no reason not to.
Yeah, it would be the best. So we are still watching the show Mountain Monsters to whatever extent that sentence is still real. It's season 3, episode 3. Enter the Dark Forest. That is the HBO Max order. Which do they still call it season 3 now that they deleted season 1 and 2?
I think so.
I have no idea. I don't know what we're doing. Look for something called Enter the Dark Forest. Hopefully they only did it once, so you can find it. I have no faith in that though. Remember, we're doing continuity now. This is all about continuity, the new Mountain Monsters. So there is another faction, actually 2 other factions, and so the second other faction that has just been introduced in the last episode, the team that we're going to forget is not the Rogue team. They set a series of puzzles for the Ames team, which they hate, and they did not solve them. So then they finally just told them, go to the dark forest. And then they did that. That's where those episodes ended up, is finally their puzzle master was like, fine, fuck you, go to the dark forest.
This is a ridiculous thing to say about a show called Mountain Monsters, but I legitimately do think some audience members have gotten lost in what this plot is supposed to be. Because there have been, when a plot is improvised on the fly, you can wind up with something that is difficult to understand unless you take a step back. Very, very simply, I'm going to put it as simply as possible, okay? We're watching a show about a Bigfoot hunting team. Like 3 years ago, when hunting a Bigfoot, a rival Bigfoot hunting team stole one of their kills. They were chasing a Bigfoot. They came and took the Bigfoot from them. They took the prize. Okay, very simple. Like 2 years ago, the main Bigfoot hunting team was harassed by a second, totally unrelated rival Bigfoot hunting team that destroyed one of their traps. Very soon after that, the main Bigfoot hunters started receiving mysterious clues placed all around the region from someone who they thought was the first rival Bigfoot hunting team, that in reality was a third, totally unrelated rival Bigfoot hunting team. Now, these clues, it was 11 letters that, when arranged correctly, spelled
Squatch body.
Squatch body. Okay. Everybody's with me. Okay. The main Bigfoot hunting team went and found the second rival Bigfoot hunting team, who said that they had been hired by the rival Bigfoot hunting team that we thought was the first rival Bigfoot hunting team, but in reality was the third rival Bigfoot hunting team. So that third rival Bigfoot hunting team kidnapped the main Bigfoot hunting team and told them that they would give them information on the first rival Bigfoot hunting team, including the location of the Bigfoot they stole, if the main Bigfoot hunters would kidnap a woman for them. That woman is an immortal witch called the Woman in the Woods. Now, that brings us up to here, because what you need to know for the next 8 episodes of this arc, of the Dark Woods arc, that in Showtime continued for the next 2 years, from April 2017 to August of 2019, is they previously had hunted this immortal witch in the woods of Lee County, West Virginia, where they found out she was partners or accomplices or lovers with a Bigfoot called the Ravenmocker. Now, the Ravenmocker had 2 superpowers. One, it could warg into the mind and eyes of any bird. That's why it was called the Ravenmocker, and use it as like a drone to surveil where its enemies were. And it can shapeshift into any being or person, including birds. I realize that ability would seem to make the first ability seem superfluous, but keep in mind, it probably unlocked those powers later. It's like in a video game when you've like earned the coolest vehicle, but then you unlock fast travel. It's like, well, why do I don't use the vehicle? I don't have this flying mount. Like, who cares? I can just instantly travel there. Okay, so at the time, the Woman in the Woods put a death curse on 3 members of the Mountain Monsters, the main Bigfoot hunting team. They broke that curse by all dressing up in offensive Native American costumes from Spirit Halloween and performing a ceremony which caused the Woman of the Woods to tell Jeff, one of their members, when and how he was going to die. They then fled the woods, having accomplished absolutely nothing. So, in the last scene before the thing we're about to review now, Jeff revealed that he had been mind-controlled by someone or something and sent back to the woods in Lee County, West Virginia, which had since been renamed to the Dark Forest, a term they had never used before. So there was probably like an executive order from Trump or something renaming it. Then she told Jeff that a third creature called the Black Wolf is also there. So I know there's a lot of stuff to get confused by. There's a lot of sidetracking. The main thing is they are here to kidnap a woman and deliver her to a rival Bigfoot hunting team in exchange for information on a different rival Bigfoot hunting team. That's it.
I mean, that was a really thorough and exhaustive history, and I would appreciate it if everybody could just throw it out the window. Just everything Jason just said, scrub it right from your mind.
It will not come in handy today, no.
You don't need to know any of that. You know, it'll just confuse you.
Well, are you implying that the team themselves are not aware of all that stuff I just said, and that in fact, if you quizzed them on what has happened, that they would be less aware than almost any viewers?
I know they have a production crew on the show. I don't think there's anybody in the position of writing down what they say to make sure.
Could you imagine asking Wild Bill to like catch up the listener?
Can you read back the transcript on that?
Imagine Wild Bill trying to do what Jason just did. It's so funny.
It would just be interrupted about 30 seconds in by chainsaw revving. Go back to what I know, brother.
That old Raven Marker gonna feather his ass.
So all you really need to know at this point is that they are in there going to the woods to kidnap a woman. Now, maybe they believe that this is an immortal ghost woman. Maybe they don't, because the show is still dancing with, oh, maybe it's just somebody out there. If it does happen to be just somebody out in the woods, they are going out there with loaded shotguns ready to blow them away. So they better hope that one's not the true thing.
I think the witch rules, they're always kind of like if you can catch and murder the woman, she wasn't a witch. And that's kind of how witch rules work.
Yeah, we're back to that. It's good. It's good logic. Foolproof.
Yeah.
That's how witch hunting works. So we pick up right where we left off, which is at a meeting at Trapper's house, and Jeff has just shown them a video that he says he does not remember being taken, where he was taken into the woods by somebody doing a little gremlin voice, and he's wandering around in his underwear, and he starts to like crawl in a hole or something, and she goes, "That's not where we go, Jeff. That's where the Black Wolf lives."
It's like, you're the one who fucking mind controlled him, idiot.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Send him to a different tree.
Don't yell at your remote control car because you drive it in the sewer. Like, that's you. That's you.
Now, this is where we get another little bit of meta narrative, and maybe this was one of the sources of the split in the team, because it has been established across two different shows that when you get mind controlled by a being, you get fully nude. Mm-hmm. The last time Jeff got mind controlled, he apparently refused to do the nudity. This time he agreed to do it in his underwear. So that must have been a bitter argument between the management, his agent.
It shows that everyone's willing to compromise.
Yeah, his compromise was, it's got to be soaked in pee-pee. If I'm down to my undies, they're real wet. God damn it. All right, Jeff. All right. Put it in the contract. I'll sign it. So Buck says, now, Jeff video's creepy, but it filled us in on something. We have the Bigfoot, the Woman of the Woods, and now the Black Wolf. I don't think that's where we landed last time.
No.
I don't think that's what the ultimate conclusion of that episode was, but it doesn't matter. Jeff also reveals the secret that he took from the Cabin of Shame, and if you'll remember, the not quite rogue team set up a cabin, and then they lined the inside of his cabin with an exact snapshot of the exact moment that they failed on every single hunt. Of like, it's like the old meme where like the old Simpsons meme where you can advance the frames and see Ralph Wiggum's heartbreak, but just for the time that they failed on a Bigfoot. So they pinpointed that exact second of like, nope, you fucked up right here, and they wallpapered just floor to ceiling an entire shed in failure.
6 or 7 layers deep, probably.
It was glorious. And Jeff picked out one, and he grabbed it, and he took it back out. And just like the Goonies, like, this is mine. This is my failure. You can't have it. I'm taking it back. And he reveals that now. And what that is, it's a screen cap from the video he just showed them, which indicates that this team either took that video, because it seems like they're also indicating that the video was taken by the Woman of the Woods. They were there, they were hanging out with her. Maybe she forwarded it to them, like took the video and now I gotta send everybody this, look at him in his undies. Somehow this rogue team has gotten a hold of Jeff's video. Maybe they were, my theory is that they're the production crew. I think the rogue team is just the whole production crew.
Or they could just watch the show Mountain Monsters and have taken the screenshot from the hit show Mountain Monsters.
Yeah, the last episode, but like before we...
I think if you met the Ames team, you could like show them their own vacation photos and they'd be like, how did you get this picture of Virginia's largest mousetrap? How'd you find it? How were you there? Like it's I got it on your Facebook, Jeff.
They say now they have to contend with the Black Wolf too, and Trapper says, now, what is that? Is it a real Black Wolf? Hell, it could be a person that just calls himself the Black Wolf.
It could just be a dude. They're cowards for not saying what we're all thinking, dog centaur.
There's a man out there who's just out in the woods calling himself the Black Wolf, and it would not be the weirdest witness name of people they've talked to. That could just be one of their guys. Like, that could be a normal guy that they'd go up and be like...
Yeah, if they met a witness named Black Wolf, they wouldn't bat an eye.
So they wonder if the man behind the mirror who gave them all of this information and this mission, they wonder if he can be trusted to deliver the rogue team like he promised. And Buck says, well, he'll still be there no matter where we go. So, like, might as well not worry about him because he still exists? Like a weird fatalism on the part of Buck? What does that mean?
Well, the blackmail is fun puzzles and free Bigfoot consulting. So, I mean, the stakes aren't exactly super high.
Also, I think he's wrong because at some point, I think it was Willie who tried to like improv. Well, he was a ghost. He disappeared.
Oh, yeah,
so, like,
that's right.
Maybe literally he will not be there. Like, I don't think he's on this plane right now based on the improv that you did. But also, it's just a weird thing to be like, don't worry about the villain. No matter what we do, he's alive somewhere. Yeah, that's like the problem. Trapper decides that it was the woman of the woods in the video. I guess she set the screen cap to the not quite rogue team, and she's been controlling Jeff's thoughts. And so now the stakes of this mission are clear. They have to go back to the dark forest to save Jeff's soul. And as Buck says, we escaped death once, but are we good enough to do it again?
And when they get into the truck briefing, the traumatic thing they went through last time, where again, this witch put a death curse on 3 of them and forced them to basically ruin any chance they would have of running for office in the future by putting on those costumes and then telling Jeff when and how he was going to die. Huckleberry describes that sequence of events as, it handed our ass to us the last time we was down there. He's going to say that over and over again. We got our asses handed to us.
4 times, I counted. He says literally the words, we got our asses handed to us.
Left it in every time. They did not have to do that.
Throughout this episode. And the editors were like, yes. Yes,
Are
you
we
did.
good enough to do it again? It's such a funny way to describe it. To like, because they did. They just kind of went out there, did a whole bunch of racist nothing, and got, by their own admission, 4 times got their asses handed to them. So to frame that as if like, God, I don't know if we've got the skills. You know, we're old men now. We might not be able to like slowly get mind controlled while we're dressed as Indians.
The actual outcome, if you'll remember, of that episode was they did not catch the woman of the woods.
No.
And having gone into it relatively free and clear, they came out with several of their party members marked for death.
Yes, no cunning or wisdom got them through that.
You did not escape death. Like, maybe, I think Buck personally escaped. I don't think Buck was marked for death, but like Willie, Huckleberry was marked for death. Willie was marked for death. Jeff's been marked for death. Are we good enough to do that again? To only get over 50% of the team marked for death?
I like how Buck is trying to list all the ways they got their ass kicked, and he's like, okay, let's go through it. Something touched your shoulder, Huckleberry, and then disappeared into the darkness. And then she breathed fire right in your face, Jeff. And then it shows the footage of just some lady going, like in a thermal camera. This is the first thing anyone does with a thermal camera. Literally everyone who owns a thermal camera has this exact shot. But yeah, that happened. Ass handed to him.
It's nice that they retconning that into breathing fire in Jeff's face.
Yeah.
Like he just took a full fireball in the face. Incredible that they got that. And Huckleberry, it's Huckleberry of all people who goes, well, you got to remember, too, there's a Bigfoot in that country. Just so incidental, like, yes, okay, honestly, you guys, we do have to remember this time that there's a Bigfoot, because we did not last time.
Yeah, and you can see the rest of the team every time somebody tries to keep Bigfoot in the conversation due to their contractual obligations, presumably. You can see the rest of the team's like, yeah, sure, yeah, absolutely.
Of
and
course.
They just immediately move on. They are so sick of Sasquatches.
Nobody wants to talk. They all know they have to say, yes, we have to mention him once per episode. And unless legally it's a 2-part episode, then only once per those 2 parts, as we have established. That's how the contract goes. I'm so excited that they've introduced 3 things now in this forest. Well, I'm sure they'll introduce more. When the last time they were in this forest, they had 2 things, and it broke their fucking brains. They could not, they merged both of them. They split them off. They shifted some of their powers to the other one where it shouldn't have been there. And they decided that there was an immortal ghost.
I also love that they've hit that, like during that low point in superhero movies when every movie had to have like 3 villains because they had no confidence that they could. So it's like, well, no, it's not just Venom. It's Sandman and Green Goblin's back, and just keep throwing them out there because, like, well, they're not just going to wash for one villain. It's got to keep adding stuff because I don't think these 3 creatures, they're going to meet a 4th. Spoiler.
I think they're going to meet quite a bit more, and I think they're going to forget almost all of them. So I just want, it's very important because we spent the last 2 entire episodes pretty much doing nothing except for coming out of it with 2 sets of coordinates. So we have 2 sets of coordinates that are in the dark forest, and so that's the mission. We're going to go there. We got literally we pissed off our puzzle master so much that he just gave us the exact GPS coordinates of where to go instead of any more riddles. So we're going to see if we can solve the riddle of, can I go to these GPS coordinates? And I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if our boys can do it. Let's keep that in mind.
Is it possible that this is the last time they will mention those coordinates for the next 2 parts of this episode? We'll see.
Why would they? Say? They spent 2 episodes just getting those coordinates. Why would they completely forget about them the second they got to the dark forest? That's insane, Jason. Have a little faith, okay? God. So before they leave the truck, Buck says, you want to know what scared me more than anything else in the dark forest? Seeing that video of Jeff in his underwear. Why do we always have to leave the truck on a laugh? It's literally the moment before this, they're talking about, we barely escaped death. And then Buck's like, well, I got a little setup for a joke here, boys. You want to hear it?
They've already established that this dark spirit controls Jeff's mind. Even now, they just said that this thing owns his soul.
Yeah, that's not Jeff laughing. That's the woman in the woods laughing through his body. She thought that killed, and killed in the immortal ghost demographic.
She's like, finally, someone gets my humor. I took off the human's pants, thought this is going to kill.
So they go back to the dark forest. I like how they linger on the sign for Lee County, Virginia, as if to say, does Lee County, Virginia know they have a dark forest? So it doesn't say home of the dark forest on the bottom of the sign.
I assume the listeners know that this is made up for the show. They absolutely do not. There's no place in America called the dark forest unless it's like a bar.
It does not exist. It's just nice that I love that they made it up, and you can make that up and then just say we're going to somewhere in Virginia, right? And whatever. It's Hollywood rules. But they said no, right here in Lee County. You could pinpoint exactly where it doesn't exist and talk to all the people here who know that it doesn't exist.
Somewhere in the unknowable vastness of Lee County, West Virginia, there's 1,000 miles of dark forest where mythical creatures walk among us.
And they all know about it. Huckleberry says the first thing to do now that they're here is recon the perimeter because they can't make the same mistakes twice. I rewatched part of those episodes. They actually made those same mistakes 4 times.
What mistakes is he talking about? I would argue there aren't a lot of non-mistakes in their history. Decisions, judgment. However you want to put it, I did make a note of that.
Okay,
That,
the cheap mistake that I was considering was going off into the woods after, like, say, mysterious voices or, like, figures that you've seen appearing, going off alone, or splitting up and going off unprepared and following these, and kind of falling into their trap rather than leading the hunt yourself is the sort of thing that they're referring to, which they did, again, 4 times in the previous episodes at least. And we'll see how many times. We'll keep a little running count on how many times they do it again in these episodes. So
this moment is the second time in 4 minutes that Huckleberry says, "The last time we were here, we got our ass handed to us."
Just don't forget. Don't forget that. Buck finds Bigfoot sign almost instantly. It's so
Just
annoying.
the second they get out of the side by side.
They see it from the vehicle.
Yeah.
It's on the road. They're like, "Oh, look, there's all these vehicles just driving by." It's like, "Oh, look at that bin of tree. Stop. Bigfoot sign." He also drove past here.
It's not us saying they seem annoyed that they have to talk about Bigfoot, because what Buck says is, now, typically we'd be excited to find Bigfoot sign, but we're not here to catch a Bigfoot. A Bigfoot, he even goes on to say, a Bigfoot in the same area? That's a distraction we don't need. Bigfoot is so common, it's an annoyance now. It's like a disc golfer. Like, Bigfoot could come crashing through here at any moment and just, like, fuck up the whole picnic. We just gotta... I'm sick of it.
He has a lot of yada yada energy here because he's like, I guess there's kind of a trail. It's sort of leading towards the dark forest. Oh, which brings me back to my main point. We should go to the dark forest and catch the immortal ghost woman. Sure.
So they're driving around the perimeter in their forest golf cart, and apparently they just drive right onto somebody's property, like right up next to his barn. And then they see him, like, standing next to a trailer working on it, and they all act completely shocked. There's even a musical sting that this man is on his own property working on his own shit. The gall of him. The gall.
Yeah, and this is not like a haunted farm. This is not like a ramshackle. It's middle of the day. It's noon. It's a brand new, like, sprawling. There's vehicles parked everywhere. It really implies that the dark forest is just these small patch of woods on this guy's land next to his farm. But they react to this guy who's just, like, leaning over a fishing boat or something. They react more to that than they did the Bigfoot sign they saw 3 minutes ago. It's like, there's a guy out there.
There's a guy. What is he doing?
He must know something.
What is he doing? What is he doing out here?
He does look kind of cranky. Like, you'd be like, this guy seems pissed at us. We
Yeah,
shouldn't have driven
you
right
drove
onto his property.
goddamn property.
With the camera crew.
Is he
Yeah.
pissed at us? Yeah, dude. He looks pretty pissed off.
He's hiding something. That's what Huckleberry says.
They decide he has some valuable information. Like, imagine, obviously none of this is real, of course. But imagine if it was, at least their part of it was real, and they just drove up onto your property and are like, well, we thought you might have some information. Here's my information. Get the fuck off my property. Is my info. What are you doing?
Why didn't you use the GPS coordinates from the shed, you idiots? Why are you on my farm?
By this point in the adventure, they have totally forgotten about the GPS coordinates. That's not going to, I'm going to spoil it right now. That's never coming back again.
That was the joke. That was my joke.
So there's another thing I want to add to the Mountain Monsters or Big Feet's drinking game, where the guy says, what's up with the cameras? And then Buck, the drinking game is every time Buck is embarrassed to explain what he does for a living, even to somebody, because this guy's a witness they hired for the show, Buck's like, we're documenting investigations that we do.
About what?
Mostly pee, if I'm being honest. My friend over there.
Buck, like, literally folds into himself and goes, dark forest.
We're going to catch the lady for a puzzle. We're solving a puzzle.
He doesn't really have any reaction to that. What they're trying to do in the fiction is sell, like, this guy is stonewalling us. This guy's got, like, he knows what's going on. Maybe he's too scared to say anything, but this guy is not a good actor. So it comes across like, I really don't want to talk to you. Like, you just drove up on my property in a fucking golf cart and started asking me about ghosts. Get out.
I don't think there's ever been a human society where it wouldn't be okay to kill these men. Like, these are deranged, armed intruders demanding to know his secrets about a ghost. Like,
Yeah, you're in danger.
yeah.
And not to be classist, but they're all like have prospector beards and are missing multiple teeth. And it's just a gang of guys that again, not trying to stereotype, but if they all showed up at your front door, you would assume
with an assault rifle.
Yeah, and a full camera crew behind him. Yeah.
So he stonewalls him, and then he leans into shakes Buck's hand, and he whispers, "Don't go in the woods."
I liked this because it implied that he didn't want Jeff and Huckleberry to know. Like, he's like, I want those two to go in the woods. You seem cool. Stay out of there, man.
Stay out of the woods.
Does not notice the boom mic that.
Yeah.
What's the name of the sound guy that got kidnapped?
Pablo
The
sound guy.
It's caught on mic. Also, at one point when they're trying to get information out of the guy who's stonewalling, Jeff says, "I've got a drawing of something. Can I show it to you?" And again, these men show up to your door and ask you that question. The answer is always no.
Absolutely not.
I've seen a mouse with tits. I don't want to see it.
It's gonna be a picture of you, anime style, covered in pee-pee. Right? Right, Jeff? Yeah. Just tucks it back in his little ham pocket.
How does this make you feel?
Would you greenlight this show?
So that's it. It's time for the night investigation. They head out into the dark forest, and Huckleberry reminds us this is the fourth time now. The last time we were here, we got our asses handed to us.
The exact same phrasing. It's so good.
It's his mantra. He's just like, just got to remember, got our asses handed to us. So Buck finds a deer head in a tree, and they all like gather around it, and they all agree, that's pretty weird.
Yeah.
That's like the tone. That's the tone they land on.
A moment to try to figure out, because Buck's like, well, now look, this thing's hanging here by wire. A person did that. Because prior to this, they kind of made it seem like it could have been just a terrible accident, like the deer was running along and accidentally hit a branch in just the right way, and its head decapitated itself, and the head got tangled up in some vines, and now
the body keeps
Trapper would
running.
have said that. I feel like if this happened 2 seasons ago, they would have been like, all right, this is the Pennsylvania decapitation cat. Like, we got it. We're dealing with a real killer. But this, to find a deer head in the tree and just be like, I don't fucking give a shit about this. I don't care.
Yeah, their
It's
reaction
crazy.
is wild. Their reaction
And then
is
they
like,
drive on a guy's property, and they talked about him for like 20 minutes. Like, he's hiding something. We gotta come back at night, kidnap his kids. We need some leverage to get him to talk. Like,
I just want to throw back to the last episode, which is where this secondary evil team, rogue team or not, left a severed animal head stuffed full of clues.
Yeah.
And so now they've gone out to find the coordinates that those people directed them towards. They have found another animal head, and they've decided, I'm not going to check it for clues. Like, the rogue team's back there. Fucking Table saw the puzzle master is back there going, look in the mouth. You looked in the mouth of the first one. This is me teaching you the game mechanics. Damn it. So they continue on to find the trail. They find that something's been digging holes, which is adorable. If that's what the black wolf is doing, it's just digging out there like a dog. There's a rustle, and they all spin around to point their guns, but it's already gone. They decide it's too quick for a burr, ain't big enough for a foot. Jeff asks if anyone else smells rusty metal in like a very, God, it's such an odd way. Do any of you all smell rusty metal? Like, no. Yeah. Why? What, is your nose bleeding or something? Yeah, his nose is bleeding. He turns around. It's such a clumsy like setup to reveal that they go through. It's frustrating.
And then they have to leave because Jeff got a bloody nose. Jeff is
says,
the shitty kid at any sleepover.
He says, I haven't got a nosebleed in 20 to 25 years. He's got a 5-year window where
and they have gone all out because they've got this blood running all the way down his white prospector beard. And normally the night shots are all done on an infrared black and white type camera. And they actually cut to a color camera demonstrating that they could do that at any time if they wanted to, just to make sure you can see, like, look how red our fake blood is that we And then it ends with somebody saying, we have to get out of here so we can get Jeff cleaned up, which is not the first time they've had to use that phrase.
Jeff has leaked some sort of bodily fluid all over himself, once again ending the Bigfoot hunt early.
It's crazy. Huckleberry could take like 3 shotguns away and replace it with some wipes or something. Like if they really want to be more efficient, they wouldn't have to go home every time he pees himself or his nose leaks.
Sometimes Bigfoot security is more about hygiene. Sometimes that's the real security. It's the lesson. They went home because he got a nosebleed.
Yes.
They're out here trying to save his soul and solve a dark puzzle master's fucking grand work. They went home because he got a nosebleed? I don't go home from the movies if I get a nosebleed.
That's too deep into the fucking nerd skill tree.
That's the other thing about this that they're going to struggle with, because finding like an end point of the night investigation, because, you know, they're out there on a fact-finding mission. You want to, and you found a clue. Like, that's not the end of your search. That's the beginning. We got a severed head. What is that marking? Let's look around for footprints. Let's see. And instead, it's like that severed head. Just got a nosebleed. All right, let's get out of here.
Call it a night.
They end the next few episodes. They end their investigations or always with just declaring like we got to fall back.
Yep.
This is getting too weird. It's too creepy.
We're out here to investigate the weirdness, but not that weird. No, not that weird. So we're going back to what I guess used to be and might once again be Wild Bill and Willie's Crackhead Trap Shack. But Willie's no longer building traps, so his whole segment this time is to build the team a little fort. Just a fun little fort to play Bigfoot in. He says he's going to put up a tarp for the roof, and then he's going to stack some logs, and it's going to look like, but not be, a little log cabin.
It sucks. No, there's no quicksand. There's no spike pits. It's just hillbilly YouTube. It's just a couple of dudes building a thing out of natural material.
And they, like, Wild Bill tries to do some, like, wacky chainsaw goofing, and it doesn't, you can tell his heart's not in it because they're not doing, like, an elaborate trap. It's just this kind of tent / half log structure.
He tries to sell it so hard. He's like, this shelter we're building look like some 3-ring circus. Wouldn't be surprised if there are animals in cages, some clowns. That's the sound of him falling over because he was pulled apart off of Willie's tarp as they were building it. And
it's just a box. He built another box.
No, he didn't, because they only built 2 sides of it and then decided that's enough.
Yeah, he built a lean-to, I guess.
He built two walls and a tarp and decided, I'm done. Like, look, I know it's busy work. You're giving me, the trap guy. I don't need it. Yeah. I don't need your fucking pity.
This did bum me out a little bit. I felt like they could have thought of something else for him to do.
Yeah, you got a Willie on team. You gotta, I mean, at least let him get in a little hole. He's also your little hole guy. Did you forget about that? He's the guy that gets in the little holes. Come on. So we go back to the day investigation where they're doing the same thing again, but I guess Jeff brought napkins this time. They hear a squeal in the forest. And God, my heart jumped for one beautiful moment. Like, you know what I was thinking.
We all thought Hogzilla was
Everybody thought Hogzilla. Bring a Hogzilla into the dark forest, baby. Make him do magic with his little hands. Give him a little wand. No. So they run after whatever it was, and they encounter a shallow creek, and they decide, oh, this is a dead end. It must have disappeared.
This was the hardest I laughed at the end.
This is, again, a sketch comedy bit. You would straight up see this in a Mountain Monsters parody because they go sprinting through the woods after this, what they think is the black wolf, the thing that has cursed Jeff. I mean, it's got to be something. And they're running, and they stop, and Buck yells, dead end. And the camera pans over. It is a creek that is 6 inches deep at most and totally still. It is middle of the day. You could walk through that. If you've got decent boots, your socks will not get wet. And he stops and says, dead end, as if they had reached the end of an alley and a brick wall was there.
And there's at least 210 degrees you could go in either direction besides through the creek, which again would be very easy to go through or hop over.
Like, not even for them. Like, do you think the wolf doesn't want to go through the creek because it's possible to get wet? Wolf doesn't give a
Black
shit.
Wolf can't cross the water. Maybe. It might be a dude just named Black Wolf. But he also could be some kind of a wolf that doesn't cross bodies of water, like a vampire wolf.
They do find wolf tracks there along the edge of the river because, much like them, the wolf cannot pass this creek for some reason. And following the tracks, they come across the very start of a tree fort.
Okay. They follow the tracks backward. The tracks are heading this way, and they say, okay, let's follow the tracks to see where they came from.
That's how you track
Rather
something.
than to find the animal we're chasing, because at that end of the tracks, you will find the black wolf itself. Like, no, let's trace it back and see where it was taking a nap before it got up to run through here.
What made it into the Black Wolf it is today, we'll find out that direction.
Let's see if we can get its backstory back there.
And it turned out what it was doing was building a tree fort, but not really committed to it. Like, they gasp like they've just seen a man blown in half, and what they've seen is 3 moderate-sized sticks placed parallel in the crook of a tree, like anybody could or would do as a child.
This is a thing they keep doing now, where they do like the Jurassic Park scene, where they get a shot of everyone gasping, like what the holy shit, and then they show a Blair Witch thing, like a little bunch of twigs bundled together.
It's not even a Blair Witch thing. It's literally 3. It's 3 sticks in the crook of a tree. It's absolutely nothing. Like, imagine what they're all going to have simultaneous heart attacks when they get back to camp and see what Willie's done and build like 2 walls of a hut. What the fuck is that?
That's like 200 big feet marking their territory. They're all crisscrossed all along that thing there.
This is a Bigfoot Braille Bible, like in the Book of Eli. He's left it for us.
See, what happened here is a Bigfoot came and put this wall here. Then another Bigfoot came and put this wall here. You can see it. Oh, here's all the markings on the walls where the Bigfoot rubbed up against it.
Willie's just like, okay, very funny. That's great. I'm glad you're having fun.
Now, at the site of this, now that they have discovered this structure with the footprints leading away, the black wolf footprints leading away, Buck says the next step, to get the hell out of there. For the second time in 5 minutes of show, he declares retreat, run away. We
saw some sticks.
We saw something. That's it. We're done.
We found some sticks. That's too weird for us. Like, how did you even get into the woods this far?
I don't think they even decided what they found. They were like, it's a warning. Maybe it's art. Huckleberry suggested it was a Bigfoot butt scratching post, and then they're like, well,
he does use himself as a yardstick, which he hasn't done in a while. Like, remember, guys, I'm the Bigfoot yardstick. Everything's Bigfoot shaped because of me. That's a little throwback.
Jeff even mentioned that Jeff faints?
Yeah, Jeff gets the crazy eyes, Huckleberry says, and then he passes out for a second, and then you're like, oh my god, Jeff's overcome, and you're like, this is the part in the possession story where he's gonna, like, I don't know, thrash around and vomit or something. Right. He gets back up and goes, I'm fine, and then they leave.
Yeah. So he's had a nosebleed and he's fainted. So he's like the weird kid at any grade school recital. I don't know.
Okay, 2 things. One, the fact that he did not piss himself there shocked me more than any moment in television I have ever seen. It's like, how did they forget? Did he piss himself? And then they didn't choose to even mention it because, like, well, of course, like, obviously he pissed himself. Just assume it's like when, you don't have to see Superman change into his outfit. You just assume he did it off camera. Of course he pissed himself. Like, it's just, we're just not going to focus on it.
I think it's that one.
The other thing, if you have a 70-year-old man who gets a nosebleed and then passes out in the woods, even if you are very sure that there's a witch in the woods, take him to a walk-in clinic. Just make sure. Just make sure he's not having a stroke. He mentions later on that he has very high blood pressure. Just make sure he's not dying.
Now, we've self-diagnosed him as witch, but like maybe you want to take a look and see if he's got some other health problems.
To be clear, They have no indication prior to this that nosebleeds and fainting are signs of this witch's powers.
Yeah.
That's never happened before. There's no reason to assume this is witch related at all, even in this universe where witches are real.
They take him to the Lee County urgent care clinic and are like, okay, you've seen this before. It's dark forest poisoning. And they're like, what? Where? It's what from where? We don't have that. What do you... No, he needs orange juice.
You need 2,000 painkillers?
Yeah, we'll take the painkillers.
Yeah. So they all meet back up with Willie and Wild Bill, and it's time to debrief. And they ask Jeff, Huckleberry specifically, says, Jeff, can you just walk off for a little bit? And Jeff's like, yeah, sure. And he just walks off. Like, not the first time they've been like, Jeff, you gotta go. You just get out of here. Huckleberry says, that's not Jeff. And like, ooh, you're thinking for a second.
Yep.
Yes, plant Jeff. He's been replaced by like a pod or something. And the camera cuts to Jeff like watching a little tree and like playing with the leaves, like it's incredible. Like he's become an idiot. It's what a magical choice he made. Go over there and do something. He's like, discover the wonder of a tree for the first time like a child. They're like, no, I didn't mean that at all.
Why would funny you mentioned choice, because he has chosen to play this like an idiot baby child. Like, huh? What? Go over here? Fine. Why? Why could you possibly? Oh, look, the wonders of nature. It's so weird.
What ensues is a conversation with, because they've got the trap team there, right? So it's everybody now but Jeff, who they've sent off to go stand in the corner of the woods. And they have a conversation where Buck's like, well, right now I'm afraid that Jeff's a liability. And Huckleberry's like, yeah, that's right. He's a security risk. And he's walking around with a loaded weapon. And I would love it if one of them was talking about Jeff being possessed and the other one was just talking about Jeff in general.
Yeah. You can't. Honestly, I've been meaning to talk to all of you.
I really like, because Wild Bill hears this, and he's just walking around with a loaded weapon, and Wild Bill goes, yeah, like that fucking rules.
All right.
Because he's like, yeah, guys, welcome to the show. We are all idiots with terrible judgment and dangerous medical conditions.
Oh, I love him so much. So Huckleberry decides he has to go have a conversation with Jeff, and the conversation plays out, for some reason, exactly like a bouncer cutting off a drunk at a nightclub. You've had enough Bigfoot, Jeff. I've got to get you home. And Jeff's like, I'll tell you when I've had enough Bigfoot.
Another great choice.
Also does the thing that is surely in the drinking game now, where Huckleberry tells the camera, hey, give us some privacy. And the camera just like moves 5 feet away in between a tree or something and just continues filming.
And then they
would
put
have
captions.
to be standing right there, plainly visible.
They put captions just in case you can't hear the private conversation down there. They land on Jeff will have to be on timeout, but they're not going to send him home or apparently take away his weapon. Buck says he's worried about Jeff's safety, and that sets Jeff off on what feels like what is improv based on the role he's been given, of course, but is definitely pulling from a source of reality. Because he's like that kind of mad where you're about to cry a little bit. And he says, you pushed Trapper away. Now you're pushing me away. You're young and you took over and I ain't putting up with it. And like, it's too real, because none of that has anything to do with what he was supposed to be like upset about. He's supposed to be upset about like being treated like a lesser part of the crew or like somebody that needs to be cared for. But now he's like, you're young, Buck. You're too young and you think you're the boss of me. Like, no, that's
you have a real day job.
He's supposed to be possessed. And the way they decided is that when Jeff gets possessed by an immortal witch, he just kind of becomes bitchy.
Yeah, he just
becomes irritable, and it's like some people are in the morning. You've probably had coworkers like this where when they come in, you just don't talk to them because their blood sugar or something is, they're just bitchy in the morning, and then after afternoon they're fine. It's just this. It never rises to a level above this. It's just, and they're going to keep having these conversations directly with cameras, like, something with Jeff ain't right. That ain't
so
him.
Grouchy.
Every single time.
Yeah, he's real bitchy. He's like 10% more bitchy than what he normally is.
Every single time Jeff has one of these possessed outbursts, and like the trope, like the trope is that your personality changes when you're possessed. Like that's one of the actual things in like the religious like dogma that you look for possession. Is like sudden personality changes to be more like angry. And he decides to play angry as Cranky, which is an interesting choice. So every single time he has a possessed outburst, it's like, it feels like it could be solved by a Lunchable. Like just give him like a pizza Lunchable, and this will be over. He'll be like back to normal. That's the vibe he gets throughout the whole time he's possessed.
Yeah, it's a really good way to describe it.
So Huckleberry yells at both of them to stop, just bitching at each other because their souls are on the line here, which that's news. That's news to me. Jeff certainly, but he implies that Buck's soul is now on the line in the Dark Forest, which I guess, I don't know.
I feel like if there's a witch on the loose, she could take your soul at any time.
Yeah, maybe.
We know she can run up and touch you on the shoulder and vanish. That's just the thing she'll do.
The stakes are, well, if we don't break this curse, Jeff's going to be a bitch forever. He's just always going to be like this.
Yeah.
His attitude sucks, right? But this is still like 20% less standing up for himself than Jeff should be doing. Like the amount of confrontation he's having and what he is asking for from the other members of the crew is like, yeah, you should actually be asking for more than this. Like you should not be taking.
There's a moment where he said, "Just don't make me go home," and that's when like he actually gets some real tears to come out. He's been trying to cry for a lot of this performance, but like can't make it work. But that's all I want, guys. Just don't make me go home.
Like,
it's so much worse at home.
Yeah, you should ask. You should ask for 20% better than that. Just don't make me go home, and I don't want to pee this time. Don't make me pee on camera this time. He's not even asking for that. The witch has not given him that much audacity to ask for that. So it's back to the trap shack. We're all going to meet up again. They pull up to this fort, this little like play fort that Wild Bill and Willie started to build. And they are astonished. I expected a tent, Buck says. Instead, he got half a tent.
It's much worse than a tent.
Much worse than a
good tent would be so much better than this.
Leagues, there's just huge gaps. It does not have two whole sides.
It does not have a door.
They do have
rain is going to come like just horizontally right through it because the walls don't come all the way up to the top.
They have some beds just set up
out of logs, I guess,
on the dirt. Like they didn't. It's just, you're sleeping on the dirt. It's. I think he was being sarcastic. Like I expected a tent. What are we doing? What is this?
We gave you money for a tent. Where's that tent money?
Because this is not it. What I'm seeing here. Huckleberry takes one look at it and says, "Man, we give Willie and Wild Bill a couple more days. It'll be amazing."
That's
the first time anybody mentions they're not done. Everybody up to now has been like, "We're done."
They were giving a fucking tour before that. He's like, "Let me give you a tour," and it's like, "Here's half a box I built on the dirt."
And literally a hole to poop in with a board laying on top of it.
They're like, "Yeah, that's way better than what I had in mind." So apparently Willie's not done building this. We'll see. We'll see if he builds more of this now that he's been pressured to. Huckleberry interrupts all this. He says, "Come over here, quick." He has found another Blair Witch sculpture out in the woods. And Huckleberry says, "She knows we're in here." So now they need to bring Jeff in. They need to bring Jeff over because they've decided somehow Jeff is the master Blair Witch sculpture translator. And so that's his role. Like, as hillbilly researcher, sure, he's got to have something to do in this show. And so they...
Does he, though? Because they're like, this looks like the sculpture, but the sculpture of the Black Wolf is a triangle. And so this is not a triangle.
Yeah. But he's going to know what that means, is what I'm saying.
I very recently raised 2 young girls, and I can tell you that that's one of the very first things you teach, like a tiny baby, is this one is a triangle, and this is a different shape. I'm just saying, if you're trying to, can it get any simpler than this? And my answer is no. Like, you can't be dumber than this. This moment right now in the show is, I think, as stupid as is humanly possible.
Would you at least wait to see what Jeff says when he looks at it. You're judging already. They're
You're
going to
right.
bring him in.
You're right.
They specifically said he can translate this. Like he has the hillbilly folklore in his mind to see not just a triangle. That's what your simple mind sees.
Sure.
He's not going to see a triangle. He's going to see like the exact nature of the tribe that this ghost comes from and how what its wants are and how to solve its presence on Earth.
They're smart guys. They've left the guy who dies, faints and has his nose is bleeding. They left him alone in the woods where he is being mind controlled by a nearby ghost.
He's the frail academic, but now it's his time to shine. Okay?
Okay. But he's probably dead because they left him alone in this very dangerous place.
They did leave him sleeping in the truck at night, unsupervised, after saying somebody has to supervise him at all times because he's been psychically compromised by a witch. And then they're like, just sleep it off in the truck.
The witch takes his phone and films him while she mind controls him. Like that's why we're here, because that happened.
So they come up to him and they're like, okay, well, Jeff, we need you to bring your cell phone and to come compare like the Blair Witch sculptures and tell us like what they mean. And they determine that what they mean is they're in the dark forest. Yeah, you said that.
Yeah,
that was the also you have two sets of coordinates. I know we've forgotten the coordinates already. You have two sets of coordinates that you can go to, that you were supposed to go to in the dark forest. And Jeff still looks at the symbol and he says, "Wow, it means nothing to me." It means nothing to him. Buck thinks it means they're in the dark forest, which they already know they are. You got to talk about it. You got to talk about some of these things, man. I know you want to keep the improv spirit pure.
But what matters now is that from the information they've gathered so far, they now have a strategy to try to capture which of the three things are they?
None. None of them.
Wolf.
Nope.
It can't be the Black Wolf because they made Jeff draw the symbol. They're like, dude, we got to see if this matches. And they had Jeff draw a triangle. And they're like, no, that triangle doesn't match this butthole shape. So they know this isn't the Black Wolf. So I think they're trying to catch the Woman of the Woods.
So now they need to split up into two teams. That's right. We're going to pincer movement to be determined. We're pincering movement.
They're going to pincer something.
They have no trap or bait.
They don't even have a target. They have not settled on a target.
Right.
That's the one thing the whole symbol thing with Jeff has determined is this is not the thing we thought we were looking for. We don't know what it is or if it's anything. So let's split up into a pincer movement and just kind of go out in the woods. And if we come together, anything between the two teams, both directions, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We don't have to know what it is. It'll be pushed to the other team.
You scare it into the other team, and then
they don't have a trap or a net or anything to capture it with.
We drive it back to Willie's camp. It falls in the shithole.
There's only 10 minutes left in this episode, by the way, listeners. I know it sounds like this is all preparation for them to do something. No. It's almost over.
There's 10 whole minutes left. Baby, we're leading to the big finale, okay? Don't mislead them just for a joke. That's, like, we're better than that. They're building to something. So now we're on the night hunt after something we forgot to specify. It's probably something. Buck finds a sharpened stick, meaning there are actual people out here. The Woman in the Woods, again, could be an actual person, and you better hope not, because everybody has shotguns, and they're ready to kill her. Buck walks into a fishing line and gets very annoyed at it. He's like, fucking, who left a fishing line here? Why would you put a fishing line here? They all just stand there, like, staring, arguing about what the fishing line is. It feels like 20 minutes later, Huckleberry says, boys, this is a trip line. Boys, it's like the trip line for some sort of trap.
No, it doesn't make any sense. I think they really oversold the what is this thing? Because I don't think you have to be like a Vietnam vet or a PlayStation owner to understand that like a string out in it's probably a trap. Like whether it's to a claymore or some bells. I don't know.
It takes a very long time for them to notice that 4 feet away on the tree that the fishing line is tied to is a little thing, a little object there. Because they like hunt around. It's like, wait, I see a light over there.
Yes, he says he sees a light.
Let's all go over there 4 feet away. Let's all travel over to that place over here. And then now that we've all arrived at this totally different spot, it's like, there's a transmitter.
The rogue team left a light on their fish line trap, as if to say, you're in the tutorial level. You got to look for these.
You can look for these. Huckleberry explains that it's up high at a man level so that animals can go under. Because everyone knows that a deer will like low crawl through the woods. So it will only detect man and Bigfoot.
I know it's obnoxious for me to even say this, but if you saw something like that in the woods, you would either, one, assume that it's like a fish and game, like a government thing. They're like studying creatures that pass by that spot to check for the density of whatever. Or you would assume a local, like the guy whose property this is, whose farm was like 200 yards away that you saw, that he had these out here because he's tired of people hunting in his woods. So he's got like a thing that'll beep and scare away the animals to annoy any hunters. Like, hey, this is private property. So he was like an annoyance alarm. But they, of course, treat it like this is life or death. Again, they treat it like they were, like it is a claymore. Like it's something that's there to kill them.
Yeah, they decide it's a transmitter, and they're like, Huckleberry's like, they know we're here now, we gotta get out of here. So Buck turns around and walks directly into another one.
Yes. And I thought it was funny because Huckleberry's, we gotta get out of here. He's holding an M4. He's got an assault rifle in his hands.
Yeah, this is, again, they have once again declared, we found something strange, go, out,
Get
out.
out.
Investigation over. We found something weird.
My favorite thing is they decide, all right, there are lights coming. They're like, oh my God, there are lights coming. That's a truck up there. And so there's a truck driving up on them. And that means they were never more than 50 feet from the road. They can see the truck drive up right there on the road. So they're just off the road doing
right
all
there.
this pretend. They've made out like they've been lost in the deepest, the dark forest where no man can go for days out here. No, they're right next to the road. Like if you stopped to pee, you would be peeing on Jeff and he would love it. He would thank you.
They built a base camp under the theory that this is so remote that the normal thing that they have established in the show that they're staying at a hotel every time, they built a base camp because like, no, we might as well be on top of Everest. Like, no, we're out here full time until this thing is done.
No, they drive out. Somebody gets out and starts coming towards them in the woods. So the Ames team kill their lights and hide. Except for Jeff, who is crouching behind a bush that does not cover his head. Like he can't crouch all the way. I don't know. Maybe he has bad knees. He's an old man. It's fine. But his head is just poking like fully up above the bush. And he says to the cameraman, he's going to see me.
So he waits till they get super close, and then he gets up and runs away.
Runs is
full
generous.
Jeff speed.
Runs is generous.
Yeah.
Again, they're treating this like this is all occurring in Vietnam in the middle of a war. That you see lights, that is an enemy patrol. Mm-hmm. Like they hit the deck, they've got their guns ready when they're in the woods shooting a TV show. Again, in the fiction of the show, they are there to shoot a TV show. They're a bunch of guys shooting a TV show, and a truck comes up on their shoot. And instead of like, oh, hold on, there's a guy coming, it's somebody who is either on his way to go hunt himself, or it's the guy who lives here. They hit the deck like, if we get spotted, we're dead. Like, based on what? They didn't add a thing where like they had taken shots at them or they shouted threats or anything like that. It's nothing. It's just somebody like shining a flashlight. Like, are there people shooting a porno out here? Why are there? I thought I saw some cameras. Again?
Set up my porno traps just to detect if any of the more porno shoots come out here.
Got a black light shining on the tree trunk.
God damn it. all over the deer. See, I was going to eat that deer. Oh, man.
You know what's great is that there is another half of this pincer maneuver that the people making the show have completely forgotten about. Like Wild Bill and Willie are out there waiting for something to get scared into them.
They don't know what it is. They're just hoping the universe sends them a sign. So somehow Jeff gets up. Jeff decides, like, they're going to see me, and I can't crouch any further, so I'm going to just power walk away. And somehow the cameraman falls down, pursuing Jeff, and loses him. And it's so hilarious to see his body moving at, like, tops half a mile an hour, and the cameraman just looking around like, poof, he's gone, like fucking Kaiser Sose. Was he even real? And the strangers, having seen Jeff get up because their lights landed on him, it's just this full wood elf face peeking out above a bush, and then gets up and just silently walks away, which would be terrifying to them.
That would be a viral clip on every cryptid social media channels. Like, man spots wood elf, and
just gets up and like walks totally silently.
Call me wood elf.
Purposefully away. Those strangers are like, fuck that. They leave.
Yeah.
they saw him do that and they're like, I don't want any part of what this is.
I smell piss everywhere. It's like, no.
Nope. I'm not doing this again. So they leave. Jeff is power walked alone into the night, and Buck agrees. Buck thinks, okay, Jeff in this forest by himself, this place will swallow him and never spit him out. First of all, strangely sexual way to put that. I don't think you needed to say it like that. Also, just didn't mention any of the supernatural threats. Just Jeff alone in the woods
at night.
God, he's dead. He's prey.
Yeah, obviously, the turn of phrase is this place will swallow him up and spit him out. But they were worried they'd never find him again. So he took a hard right in the middle of the idiom. I just thought that's fun. I like how wrong it is. I like how stupid it is.
Willie and Wild Bill, over having their own adventure over here, they find some kind of Bigfoot sign, because that's how wrong they are about what's going on in this show. They're like, we're hunting a Bigfoot. No. Not even close.
We're annoying this farm owner.
Good guess. Something rustles in the nearby bushes. Buck and Huckleberry, meanwhile, are off looking for Jeff, and they see him just like coyly standing beyond the range of their flashlights, and then he starts power walking away again. Funny every time he does it. I gotta give him, like, as a
this
visual.
Happens, it feels like 7 times. They come upon him, they like yell at him, and then he just takes off walking again, and they have to get, and it's this incredibly slow speed chase. And then at some point, I don't know if we've passed it or if it's after this, because it's just a chain of this same thing happening over and over again. Buck hears a voice. It's like Jeff's voice saying, over here. But he hears it in multiple places. And then Buck says, do you remember who can imitate voices? The woman of the woods.
Michael Winslow. Oh.
No, neither of you are right. It's the Ravenmocker that
It's
did that.
the Ravenmocker, yes.
It's the
not the
Ravenmocker.
one you forgot which thing.
That's what I mean by they
I
started
know,
It's called
describing.
the Ravenmocker. Ravenmocker. That's why it's called that, is that it can imitate voices.
God, that's
Made
such
me
a good
so
moment
happy.
that he turned to the camera, all smug. Do you remember who can do that? Because who's got 2 thumbs and does remember? Not this guy. Not this fucking guy. I don't know who it is, but it ain't me. Swing and a miss. That's what I'm going to do. He got the power wrong. Oh, shit. So they find and chase Jeff again, nimble as the night itself. He just the little power, his little. It's like a bitchy power walk that he's doing. There's a little sass. There's a little sass in it, and it's funny every time. They finally come up on him stationary, and he's Blair Witching it. He's got his head to the tree like he's in witch timeout, and next to him is like a little girl in a dirty dress just pointing at him, and she like disappears, runs off into the night. And you're like, okay, scene ends there. That's pretty good. Cut the episode right there. You've landed on, it's a trope, sure. It's hacky, sure. It's an effective like little vignette. We know it works.
Super
We know
creepy.
it works from the Blair Witch. Episode does not stop there. So they come up on him. The little girl disappears in the night. They come up on Jeff, and Jeff goes feral on them again, doing a weird little piggy squeal and just wiggling at them. And like, I don't have to say it. He's covered in pee. They don't specify that, but yeah, we just know. We just know.
It would be so weird if he was not covered in piss here.
Yeah, like
That's when you know it's the fake Jeff.
yeah, that's
a Raven Mocker.
That's Plant
for
Jeff.
sure.
Plant Jeff has too much dignity. Is the problem. So while they're fighting,
You
Buck
made one
says,
small mistake, Raven Mocker. Jeff would never not pee himself.
"What's this? What's this suspicious dryness I'm feeling?" Last thing he hears. So they're all piled on top of a wiggling, squealing Jeff, and then Buck pauses the fight to go. The little girl is still right there, like she's watching all of this and just clapping.
Oh,
Like,
so funny.
camera.
Just like 10 feet away, T-posing at him.
So Jeff flails some more, and you think like, how is this dramatic struggle going to resolve itself? Huckleberry just bops him in the head, just a little bop on the head, and Jeff's like, "Hey, that's how you break the spell? A gentle bop?
A face swat.
A little bop breaks her spell." So they hear the little girl scream again in the woods, and Buck starts to head out there to check it out, but he stops, and he's like, "Oh my God, something's not right. I've just felt
He's like,
something."
yeah. This is super scary, guys.
Yeah,
Fuck
he's
this.
looking up to the top of this hill, and he says, like, "I cannot go any further. There's something wrong about this." Yeah, it's called a hill.
It's a hill.
It's
you
a
weren't
hill.
going to get up it anyway.
He's
pal.
not. Yeah, we know. He retreats. He retreats from the hill, and he reassures them, like, no man should ever go up that. No man should venture up that accursed slope. They start retreating again from the retreat that they were already doing when they hear a roar. So they speed up the retreat that they were under as like a triple retreat. And they all regroup back at camp, only to find somebody sitting at their campfire. And that man says, "Oh, did you hear that noise? That was a black wolf."
And in response, Buck says, "The Black Wolf?" As if he has never heard that term
what
in
are
his
you
life.
talking
As if
about?
he totally forgot that was because again, listeners, they fled the woods because they heard a howl. The noise of the thing they came to hunt. They heard it's like, that's it, done, out. And that the rule is you stumble across something interesting, out immediately.
Well, actually, if you'll remember, they were fleeing the little girl at first, and then they were fleeing the prospect of a hill at first, and then they heard the roar and were also fleeing that. So they were fleeing under three different conditions.
Then they got to their hotel at the fitness center. The treadmills were also haunted. Can't get on
incredible.
those.
Inclined
I think
super
this was
haunted.
the worst episode.
I don't think they did a single thing that was right or good in this episode. Even by their own standards, they got the names of the monsters wrong. They'd just go into the woods and then one of them would fucking just die from an unrelated medical problem. Anytime something got scary, they left, which I guess is kind of normal, but this one was like, "I'm going to go get that little girl." No, forget it. This is real spooky out here, guys.
We made fun of him so hard. I feel so bad for this poor hillbilly puzzle master. My God.
Yeah.
They have straight up coordinates. He said,
Yeah.
"Okay, don't go to the dark forest," and then he thought, "Wait, hold on. You're gonna die. I cannot tell you just to go to the forest and look around." Okay. Well, you've gotta look for a hill. Nope. Way too. You know what? Coordinates. I'm gonna give you exact coordinates. I'm not even. You just go here. Put this in your phone. Okay. You got a phone? All right. Open your phone. I'm gonna put them in for you, and then you can just follow them. And they don't even consider going to them.
I just realized that this was a pincer maneuver that we were in the middle of. And so the one team went right into a trip line and got spotted. And then Jeff ran off, got mind controlled by the little girl of the woods. The other team they were trying to scare stuff into the other team. They just left. They're just like, "Oh, well, I guess we'll call it a night."
They thought, those poor idiots thought they were hunting a Bigfoot.
Yeah. And then they couldn't find one and left and went back home.
Imagine when they regrouped and they're like, that Bigfoot must have got away. And Buck's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Jason, you're right. It's the worst episode.
Well, I have concerns. What's happened, to be dead serious, what's happened is the pacing, because they've converted to a model that this is how they do it on the new show, the new Colt Straub show, UFO Cowboys, where the whole season is one case.
Yeah.
That way you don't have to keep inventing new creatures. It's one creature the whole season. That's what they're doing. This entire season is like they add the subtitle is Secrets of the Dark Forest, whereas last year was like Bigfoot, whatever, Mission Bigfoot,
they have
whatever
saved
it was called.
$320 in CGI.
Well, for example, in the previous version of the show, when they would cut to commercial, they would always cut commercial with they would flash their CGI Bigfoot and dub in a roar. Now they do an awkward fade to black because they hear a noise like, what is that? And they'll run over there and it will just fade to darkness. And you realize, oh, this is where they used to cut to their hilarious CGI xenomorph. And you would laugh and then they would come back. They don't have that anymore. But also you can see them like not wanting to use any of their stuff in this episode because we've got to stretch it out over the next 8 episodes going into next season. The first episode of the next season of the show is still it's like leaving the dark forest or whatever. So I assume this season ends on a cliffhanger that then picks up. I've not watched that far ahead, but you really do feel the difference in the pace where they're like before they're saying, hey, this is too frenetic a pace. We've got to slow it down. Let this adventure marinate in the minds of the viewer.
Really get these character building moments that we can all have together. I'm so excited to watch the new directions of failure that will surely be uncovered. The hitherto never seen by man, just whole new failures waiting to be unearthed. But that's this episode. It's a guy in a very casual tone going, "Hey, did you hear that? That was the Black Wolf." Like, all right.
The Black Wolf. Hold on. No.
That was it. That was your hard cut out. You could have hard cut out on Jeff being put in witch time at. No. You always gotta shoot yourself in the foot one last time.
Or the actual ghost girl they got on camera zipping into the darkness. That would have been a great ending.
Who, by the way, they did not pursue in case it's an actual little girl lost out there who could be confused or mentally ill, or she could be from that farm who could have wandered into the woods. It's like 2 a.m. She shouldn't be out there. At the very least, on the off chance that she is not the child form of an immortal witch or the fourth entity hey, go out there with a flashlight and say, hey, little girl, are you all right? Can we take you back? We've got a golf cart. Do you need to go back home? Are you okay? No. It's just she leaves the frame and it's like,
yeah.
Wow.
If she turns to you and like her eyes turn black and she grows fangs, then you're like, okay, I got it.
Fine,
But I had to check.
shoot her.
I had to check. Worst case scenario, it's a real little girl because that means they're going to blow her in half at some point. We've got 8 episodes for them to blow her in half, and they're going to get there. So I hope to God it's not a real little girl. Okay, so what's our favorite quotes? You know what? I'll go first this time. It's right here. We just talked about the moment where they first see the little girl and then they pile on top of Jeff, and Buck improvises, "Oh, the little girl, she's still right there," like off camera. Don't point the camera at her. Point at us fighting a wiggling, worming Jeff down here. Don't point it at the ghost girl. He says she's still like right just 10 feet off camera, and then they play the little girl's like horrible scream, and Buck reacts by going, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing?" like you're a little bitch. God damn it. All right, how about Sean?
Mine is pretty close to that. None of the lines in this episode were super good, but one of the ones that made me laugh was they were chasing mind-controlled Jeff. And they're out here because Jeff's being mind-controlled. He's giggling from 2 different places in the woods. And then it cuts to Buck in the future giving a testimonial where he's like completely forgotten all about that. And he's saying, "Why is Jeff running from us? What's he doing?" And I just thought that's very funny because he's pretty fucking obviously being mind-controlled by the witch. I don't know. It's not a good quote, but in the context, it was very funny.
So I am trying to get away from, because there's at one point after they retreat from their pincer movement, Huckleberry says, "We got to get back to base camp and hook up together." I'm trying to get away from using quotes like that because I know that's language people use. It's not, you could do that all day. You could, like there's one point when Huckleberry's hiding in the woods from the guys with a flashlight and he says, "They're coming right on top of us." But that's stuff people say. You don't have to read something into it. So instead, after Buck inspects the base camp and Willie shows him the hole behind there where they're supposed to poop in, and Buck says, "I can't wait to see the outhouse Willie comes up with. I'm hoping it's a two-holer."
Because you have to be a Bigfoot teacher, you have to open up your mouth. You have to be a Bigfoot teacher. All your friends are so knocked out. You had to have the last word last night. You know what everything's about. You had to have the white hot spotlight. You have to be a Bigfoot